Hi, everybody, and welcome to Radio OPAC. It's a weekly program at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're a division of the Ohio Prison Arts Connection. I'm Pat Wynn Brown. I'll be your host today. And with us is the wonderful and talented and smart and beautiful Annette Dominguez. Welcome, Annette.
Thank you so much, Pat. What a lovely introduction. I appreciate
Well,
that.
you deserve it. And just a little background about Annette. And she has worked in the Tapestry program, the recovery program at the Ohio Reformatory for Women for 27 years. She was named director in 2009. And during this pandemic time, we're very sorry to say that program was eliminated. And so we're talking to Annette about Tapestry. We're being joined by many of the Tapestry women on the outside, and we welcome you listening to this program, and join us for the talk back at the very end, please. But Annette, you have gone into this type of work. You started at WBNS TV in sales.
Radio, actually.
Radio, and then you went into criminology to study. But you had a childhood story that I'm interested in, about seeing some kids that were kind of going the wrong direction, and you intervened to set them in a better direction.
At the time, I think I was just a young woman responding to something that I saw. We had some wonderful neighbors next door, and I came home from school and I saw some youngsters climbing out of their window with some property. And really without thinking, I just kind of started running up the alley chasing these youngsters, and I caught them. And long story short, we ended up going into court with these kids, or into the system, and the opportunity to really see the backstory for these children. What they had experienced thus far in their very young lives. Obviously there was a great deal of leniency. They were not formally charged or anything like that. But it really gave me an opportunity to see that, what you see is not always the full story. And so it sort of piqued my interest in wanting to know a little bit more about what's behind all this.
And truly, knowing a person's story and having that person tell their story, which they do in Tapestry, they have that opportunity to be heard. Some of them have lost their voice in the universe, or their voice has been taken away from them. And you have seen that there, and we see it in the arts here, offering voice to the narratives of people's lives. How did a program like Tapestry benefit the women in prison?
I think it's in the name. It's Tapestry Therapeutic Community. And so everything about Tapestry was focused on the community as the agent of change. It wasn't any individual. It wasn't the staff. It was the structure. It was the community. It was the opportunity for the women to find a safe place, to be able to share what they needed to share, find role models that they could emulate, be supported when they made mistakes, and always know that they are part of something greater than themselves, that they have the right within that community, but they also have a responsibility to that community.
Can you tell us maybe one success story that you're particularly proud of in your career? Because we've talked about this before. You've saved many lives, but when you save one life, we learned in Schindler's List movie, when you save one life, you save the world entire. So can you tell us about one life in particular?
Well, the women really save their own lives. We get to be the guardians or facilitators, if you will, but they do all the heavy lifting, and there are so many, truly. I just wrote a clemency support letter for one of our women who left about 14 years ago, left the institution, got her undergraduate degree, got her master's degree in social work, got her law degree, went to Bolivia to serve those in need, and has now returned to Ohio and is a candidate for clemency. That's obviously a success story, but success is relative. You know, the sisters who've devoted their lives to serving those who struggle with substance abuse and run their own treatment programs or have opened their own sober living homes. And then also the sister who is thinking about using, but makes the phone call before she does to reach out and get support. So success can be measured in so many different ways, and I consider all of those success stories.
And what you've done at Tapestry is unique. And do you welcome the arts into the program itself? And there's specific things that you do in programming, but you also found that the arts were a supplement, and you invited in Harmony Project with David Brown, and it became a choir. And the women also Skype with the children in South Africa as part of this session. How did you know that this would be a good thing to try with the choir? What sparked your interest?
Well, I met David Brown around a mutual friend's kitchen table, and I invited him to come to Tapestry. He was so touched by the work that he saw the women doing that he immediately asked if they could participate in a project he had going at the time, which was 1 week, 1 family. And 10 families from diverse families from across Central Ohio that were going to spend a week together sharing experiences. Tapestry became the 10th family. And one evening, all of the other 9 families came to the institution. They served a meal to the women of Tapestry and to the staff of the institution. And everyone sat down together and ate a meal, which was just the most amazing experience. And I think it was then when we realized that in the course of 2 hours, we had widened perspectives. People's minds had been blown. They had been changed. They had seen something and experienced something they'd never done before. And we all, I think, realized this is amazing, and we have to continue to make these connections through art with the Harmony Project and the myriad other relationships that we've developed since that time. These women become ambassadors. You know, people come in, they share their talents with us, and these women just make the most of it. They empower themselves, and they learn to trust, and they just grow.
They do, and I've witnessed it myself, because then that door was open. I was able then to bring in Ladies of Success, the Charm School, and the Arts and Letters Society, which Tapestry joins in the Arts and Letters Society. And I wonder if you could just give a little brief review of what happened when Stacy Board from Shadowbox Live came to sing to the ladies, how that went.
Yeah, yours is the summer school everybody wants to go to, Pat, trust me. When we went over there and Stacy was up there belting out these, you know, classic rock anthems that really predated some of these young women by 15, 20 years. And while I was watching her, I always looked to see what the response is from the community. And these women were, they were up, they were clapping, they were having this very real experience and response, and joyful, just joyful. And watching these young women who knew some of these songs and singing them on the way back to the cottage. Stacy was then known as the Shadow Lady. You know, they couldn't remember her name. She was the Shadow Lady. Miss Dominguez, the Shadow Lady.
Yeah, Shadowbox Live, yeah.
Exactly, and they were just so excited.
It was quite a day, and Stacy had made plans to then do a concert this summer with the prison, of the entire prison, with Shadowbox Live, and that was, of course, canceled. And Melissa Etheridge did a beautiful concert at ORW, and she also wrote a letter of support to the governor for Tapestry. How did that make you feel?
You know what? Personally, obviously, it was so incredibly touching when the women were told that Melissa had written a letter on their behalf. That was really the compelling moment. I mean, to see in their faces that Melissa Etheridge took time out of her life, her world, to write a letter on their behalf, that she remembered them, was just, I mean, it was remarkable. And, you know, it just does so much for the women to know that they are remembered. That's so important.
It is. It really is. We're going to be going to a picture and a video that is very, very wonderful, given permission by the editor of the Dispatch to use. You also welcomed in Jessica Keene and her tap class after we had a wonderful program of tap, and there you are joining in, and the women learned their numbers and they performed for the Arts and Letters Society, and they did a beautiful story. And I want to give credit to Courtney Hersheimer from the Dispatch, and they're going to allow us to use this video. Before we get to the video, Annette's going to join us for the talkback immediately following this show. The link for the talkback is in the comment section along the side. Just press that, go to that. We welcome all your comments and welcome Tapestry Sisters. I want to say next week's show will feature Alma Robinson, and she's with the California Lawyers for the Arts. She's working with Dr. Jesse Glover on an NEA project about the arts in Ohio. We ask you to join us. So thank you, Annette. And we know that you are still conversing with the Tapestry women and that you are continuing to help them weekly. And we thank you. You're doing that on your own time. We wish you much luck with that and hope that the program comes back. So we'll be leaving you now, Radio OPAC, and going on to talkback. But here's our moment of reflection today. And it's the story about the tap dancers of Tapestry that I like to call the twinkling tappers of Tapestry. Thank you, Annette, and let's see that video.
When I put the shoes on, it just like gave me a sense of freedom. Like, I don't know what it was, but I just felt free in them shoes. And just being able to hear like different sounds, make different sounds. It was just like a kid in a store, a toy store.
I have never taught a tap dance class in a prison before, so this is a first. There's just like this really wonderful positivity in the class, and no, I don't think anybody gets like really down on themselves if like they're not like picking up as fast as they thought they would be. They don't rush, which is in any tap class. I think people like really tend to like rush their music, and here like everybody is like so in sync with each other, and that has been so much fun to be able to teach to them.
I think it's important that the women have an opportunity to explore the arts because it provides a positive impact for the whole institution. It really challenges your balance and your core, and it gives you the opportunity to kind of laugh at yourself. And in this environment, that doesn't happen enough.
Some of us that's experienced trauma and stuff, like, it's going to be a good exercise for us to just kind of like loosen up, and you know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's going to have some therapeutic value for us.
See, one thing I learned, fake it till you make it. So I love that. I like that I can be free and just be able to, you know, make it look good, even though I don't know what I'm doing. I can say for me and my addiction, this is not something that I would have done or I would even thought of being able to do. So to be able to actually be sober and have like my sober mind and be able to actually have sober fun is awesome.
It just allows us to kind of get out of this place and just enjoy something. That's really what it was for me. It's a way for us to just kind of forget where we are.
You get used to like that normalcy, you know, like you get used to how it is every day, and so like coming here is such a breath of fresh air, and I feel like people wouldn't normally say that coming into like a prison, but here like that joy and just like that energy that they give you when you're teaching is so incredible, and like that is just I've not found that anywhere else.
That's terrific. And know that Jessica Keene will be joining us as a guest in the future. So join us in Talkback. The Zoom link is there in the comments. We'll see you over there. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you.